Maurice Fitzgibbon,
Hi.
welcome back to the Modern Warrior podcast. It's been 2 years, my man.
It certainly has.
And we had a fucking brilliant conversation last time you were here. And possibly one of the most popular episodes I've recorded so far.
Yeah, I think people took a lot of kind of food for thought from my own perspective of how I look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of life.
Well, that's why I like you, man, because you're not afraid to speak your mind and to put it out there, despite possible pushback or criticisms or whatever else, you know. So
yeah, it's you know, and it's funny because a good few people reached out to me after that podcast and they're saying, you know, do you never get anxious about what people think? And that, no, I'd be more anxious about what I think of myself if I don't speak what I think.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, if you hold back.
The outcome of saying what you think and believe is always going to be better than the outcome of not speaking. It's period. You know that, like, sure.
Of course.
Conflict divided is conflict multiplied, whether that's within yourself or in your circle.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So
is that
if you have something to say it.
Is that through experience that you've learned that, or has that just always been your way?
Yeah. Well, it's always been my way, but the couple of times that you try and keep the peace, or what you think is going to keep the peace, doesn't keep the peace.
Yeah, you keep the peace outside, but you go to war inside.
You go to war inside, but you'll also go to war by not pulling people up when you should.
Yeah.
You know?
As in?
It could be anything, whether it's an injustice you see in the street or, you know, somebody who is in a group of people who is maybe belittling people, who's maybe just spouting rubbish, whatever the case may be. And if you decide to sit there like everyone else and look at your shoes, that's a poor reflection on yourself. And that is going to haunt you. That's when you're going to be one of those people who has the conversation afterwards in the shower with yourself and go, oh, I'd have said this to that fella. Yeah, but why didn't you say it then? You know, and that's what's eating up a lot of people today in society, because they're not willing to say something when it's needed. And then in turn makes the ones who are saying it look a bit crazy.
Yeah, because you're the outliers.
You're the outliers. But if we were all willing to have the same kind of mindset about certain things, wouldn't be the outliers, we'd be the norm.
I hear you.
You know?
What's been probing you, what's been provoking you lately around what you're seeing or experiencing?
I suppose, look, you can look at it from a political angle, look at it from a social, look at a demographic angle in Ireland. You know, it's the big elephant in the room that people don't want to talk about, but yet everyone is talking about behind closed doors.
What's the elephant look like?
The elephant looks like it comes from the Middle East and Africa. That's the elephant.
Okay.
You know?
Immigration.
You know, and the societal effects of immigration. You know, and off the back step of that, then those of us that talk about it, talk against it, deemed as toxic white males. Who particularly promotes that? White liberal women who demand to be protected in society. But yet they demonise the ones who are here trying to protect them.
So you received a lot of pushback?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever look at the criticisms or the pushback or the words from others and even question whether there is an element of truth in that for you to look at? Or do you would just shut it down completely and say, no, you're wrong. This is how I see it and this is the way it is, instead of maybe coming to some type of, I know it's very difficult with some people, but some type of a mutual agreement, even within yourself, to look at it and say, okay, that is a bit of a different perspective to how I've been seeing it.
Would you mean by that, Gavin, as in maybe I am a toxic white male?
Not at all.
No, but that's a genuine question.
The question is, say, okay, you put something out there. Like we all have our opinions, and we all have our thoughts, and we all have our difficulties with certain situations in life, and of course we have every right to speak up about it. And someone else has a different version of events. Now, the different version of events could be communicated through anger or through resentment, and it feels like an attack. And instead of maybe just looking at that person or receiving that and going, hey, you haven't a clue what you're on about. What are you talking about? And you can sort of maybe look at it and ask, okay, is there anything in here
that has an element of truth
that I could maybe see this from a different perspective? That's the question I'm asking. Yeah,
I think over a lot. Look, I think 99% of the topics you always have to take somebody else's thing with a pinch of salt and a pinch of truth. You know, because they'll always have. I think most people, even of an opposing view, will have, you know, an element of something that is very beneficial to the conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on those particular topics, it's a very minute part that is beneficial. And a lot of it comes down to, you know, the delusional ideologies of liberalism in the West. Like, it's an ideology. It's not a reality. You know, this utopian idea of society is not a reality, because those people who are coming in here are not coming from utopia. They are not coming from this ideology or ideologically designed world that we live in. It's not the case. They're coming from a much more base, primal type living situation, which is backed up with some very backward beliefs and mannerisms, I suppose the word I'm going to use.
Especially around women?
Yes. You know, and I don't think there's enough acknowledgement to that. And it's very hard, I suppose, for people to have acknowledgement unless you've gone and seen those places. I've gone and seen those places firsthand.
As in the countries they've come from?
Yes, yeah.
What have you experienced?
Nothing too good. All these places have beautiful cultures, but there's certainly an underlying part to them that, you know, is definitely not the we want here. And it's particularly down to the mindset of how they view women in society.
Yeah, mainly women in society.
Yeah, it's women and children, you know, obviously as well. But, and I suppose it's hurtful. I think to a lot of Irish men, it's becoming very hurtful to have, you know, things thrown at you when you're doing something and saying things from a good place.
Such as what you've experienced?
Yeah. And there's a lot of others. You'll be aware of this. Like, there's a lot of people, you know, whether it's in the protesting spheres in Ireland, the online sphere, or just in everyday life, that they like to use the buzzwords to just diminish you and shut you down without being able to have a proper conversation about.
Yeah, there's no context behind the buzzwords.
No. And I think that comes around really to leaving off the racial or things like that to it. It just comes down to a place of caring. It comes down to a case of, it's not about being, you know, an ethno-nationalist. It's not about things like that. It comes down to the fact that as a man in my country, I believe that in your everyday life, you have a duty of care to the Irish women in society. Period.
Yeah.
And I think that's compelled within all of us, because you have to look around you and say, you know, it's not my sister, it's not my mother, it's not my auntie, it's not whatever, but it's somebody's sister, mother, auntie, grandmother.
Could be your
who is within my community. And as far as I'm concerned, my community extends to the four corners of Ireland. It's not just my parish, it's not just my county. You know? And if you're one of those people who's out in a public space and sees something wrong and you decide to, or maybe you're like the rest of them, to pull out your phone to record it and do nothing. You know, how do you answer to yourself at night over things like that? Or when you do see, what I have noticed lately as well is where you see altercations, which are very frequent online now, and, you know, call a spade, you can see there is a racial difference in these videos. And the ones who could be like me or you or someone who you know, goes to aid the person in it, they're then demonized. You know, there's clearly, you know, an aggressor in the situation who you can't speak about. But when you go into that situation, then you all of a sudden have become the problem. You all of a sudden don't understand, you know, whatever the case may be. And that's where the real danger is, you know. And it comes back to, you want to go back in Irish history, look at the 1916 Rising people. The Irish themselves, there's women that time threw, you know, fruit, veg and rubbish out the windows in the streets of Dublin on top of the rebels. And the only reason because they were demonized. The only reason they ever became heroes was because of the fact that when they were shot, then it became a problem. But the reason all the women of Dublin at the time were so mad was because the post office had been blown up and they couldn't get their money from the men fighting over in the war that time. The men who had signed up to fight for Britain. You know? So we're experiencing something like that. Some people aren't going to see the connection there. But there is very much a connection there.
Mm-hmm. History is doomed to repeat itself, isn't it?
History is doomed to repeat itself.
Mm. The dynamics are a little bit different now.
The dynamics are different.
Mm.
But the invaders are here. Make no mistake about that. And we're in a rapidly, rapidly declining society. As an Irish man, you are becoming a minority in your country. That's not some nonsense thought of mine. That is becoming a fact.
What are we losing through that?
We're losing our essence of what it is to be Irish. And when you stand up and you say, I'm an Irishman and I'm proud to be an Irishman and this is my colour, this is my whatever, you're demonised for that. You know?
Mm. And the way you can
at the end of the day, you know, a dog born in a stable is not a racehorse.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. That's my belief.
Okay. Does this keep you up at night?
It doesn't keep me up. Look, nothing keeps me up at night. That's outside my gate, we'll say.
Yeah.
But I think it's something you have to be conscious of, whether it's someone like you who has kids, someone like me who wishes to have kids someday, and to see where your grandkids will be in the future.
Could end up, yeah.
And we see that with Britain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is something that is on a lot of Irish men's mind and a lot of women's minds. There's a lot of women who are very aware of what's going on. I think they're probably more in tune with what's going on from a protective perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like in fairness, Gavin, you and me walk through Dublin at 12 o'clock at night. We're conscious, but we're not nervous.
Yeah.
Would you say that's fair to say?
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were bouncing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'd be well capable to defend yourself within reason. I'd be well capable to defend myself within reason. But if you were a woman, you wouldn't feel too safe to walk through Dublin. Never mind at night in the daytime.
True, yeah.
With some of the footage that we've seen in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact in that our national media channels don't like to depict the reality of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
So that means each and every person in Ireland is lying to themselves that we live in a peaceful society when we don't at the moment. We do not live in a safe society. And it is definitely not safe for women. You know?
Mm-hmm. Where do you see this going?
I think we're coming to a time where some good men are going to have to do some very bad things in this country.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And until that happens, you're not going to see any real security.
You're talking about a war?
I'm not talking about a war. I'm just talking about behaviour. I'm talking about people, whether it's just speaking up or whether it's reacting to things that are happening within their communities, which we are starting to see a lot more prevalent since you and me last sat down. There's a lot of stuff happened.
In smaller communities?
In smaller communities, yeah.
Not just in Dublin?
No, not just
in the big
Dublin.
cities, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see that is bleeding onto the...
It's bleeding on everywhere.
Yeah.
But as I said, it's not being depicted in the correct light.
Mm-hmm.
It's depicted as, you know, extremism. It's and many other things. I'm kind of tiptoeing around how I'm going to say some of this because I don't want to give stones for someone to throw back at me that are not justified.
Yeah. Not theirs to throw either.
No, they're not theirs to throw either. And it's become too easy for those people to throw those stones nowadays.
Yeah.
Without facing the reality of the situation that is at their doorstep. And I think until it bursts through their door some night, they're not going to be of the consciousness of what's really happening. You know?
It's like that thing I mentioned to you earlier. Now, a different approach is, as I mentioned to you, do you ever question the pushback that you receive? But it's also to them who are listening today, asking themselves, okay, is there an element of truth in terms of what Maurice is talking about here that I maybe need to focus my attention on and to bring some
I don't think
awareness
that happens to them. I don't think there's that self-accountability.
It's easier to pretend that it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
because if you know it's there,
it's easier to pretend that I'm not wrong.
Mm.
I think that's what a lot of them.
That they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you see, it's a very egotistical thing to act out to be empathetic publicly. to be virtue signaling publicly. It's very egotistical when you really delve into it. Like, because are you doing it for you, or are you doing it so people see you doing it? So, you know, if you go out in the street with a sign that says all migrants welcome, or, you know, whatever else that you do see going on some of the protests in Dublin, who is it for? Because there's a benefit to them doing that. They know they get the pat on the back. They know that they get the clap. The one who goes out in the opposition of that doesn't get any of that. They're doing it because they feel they should do it and have to do it. There's nothing good comes from it, I can promise you that much. There's a lot of backlash.
Yeah, which comes from the minority.
Yeah.
Just like the 1916.
Yeah, but you have to remember.
What was the minority?
We are the silent majority, though. We're not a minority. It's a silent majority.
Silent majority. Okay. Yeah.
It's very important for people to key into that. It was the same during the COVID period. There was a lot of people who were not as vocal as I was. Yeah. But they were doing the same and believing the same as I was. But therefore, then left people like me looking like we were weird. Yeah. Me and you both. Yeah. So, but like all them things, you know, there's a constant reoccurrence of that. Like,
yeah, no matter, just shows its face in different ways. Yeah. But
the tide, I think, is definitely turning in, you know, the nuclear family. I think the nuclear family is becoming very aware that the world is changing rapidly around their little families, and are starting to become maybe more progressive in trying to protect that. You know, and there was people that I would have said a couple of years ago were very kind of accepting and, you know, too liberal in maybe how they were running their household, but they've really started to crack down on that and started to become more aware. Well, what are the kids watching? Where are they going? What is influencing them? Because this is not looking good. This is not going to serve them long term. This mindset, this behavior, these friends groups
online.
Yeah.
Which has become a new group of friends and has become a new environment.
Yeah,
like the online world is an environment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's a very toxic environment.
Yeah, it can be.
Whatever side the scale you might fall on, whether you're left or right, it's toxic on both sides. If you don't have some very good middle ground people,
an anchor
to anchor you there.
Because the ship is going to sway
sometimes
from side to side, but it won't sway too far if you have a solid
if you have a solid anchor, a solid foundation. You know, but especially for young teenagers, like whether it's, and you see this, you know, through your men's groups and whatever, I suppose, look, you're getting an older age group, but like you're soon going to have.
Well, I'm stepping into schools next month. So
right. Okay. Well, then you're really going to get an eye opener.
Yeah.
Because I think when you go into a school, you're going to have children who are super left, and you're going to have these other kids that are completely red pilled on the right that are only 15. Which
it's just one extreme to another, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's no middle.
And we both know that they're both as equally damaging. You know, like being really left is really damaging. Being really right is really damaging too. You know, because you know that on the right side of things, and it would say the red pill community, as they call themselves, like you're looking at porn addiction, you're looking at, you know, drugs, alcohol, womanizing. There's nothing really good comes from that either. And then on the other side of things, like
too passive.
Well, they're too passive, but like they go from being toxic left young boys to being toxic left used to be boys.
What's that look like?
Well, they start wearing a dress.
That. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
You know?
Okay. A lot of that happening.
Oh, God, there is, yeah. But again, I think that's, you know, it's just who they're being influenced by. I think if you're 14 and you don't quite feel like you fit in school, you don't fit in sports society and things like that, I think it's very easy to be influenced that, well, maybe I am something else. I think I can understand that when I was younger, that, okay, there wasn't a fear of me being influenced for that, but I could see how somebody could be.
Yeah.
And I think too as well that if you really catch on to the fact that there's a lot of young people are not as clued in as we were at their age. Like that is something you can really acknowledge nowadays. Like they just aren't as mature, I think, as we were. maybe it's through over-mothering, maybe it's through a lack of being allowed to actually do things.
Yeah, take more risks.
Takes more risks,
fall down.
more responsibility, that kind of thing.
Mm.
And I think that is what is influencing them then to, lean towards, well, I don't fit in. I'm not, a boy's boy.
Yeah. Because you're looking for a sense of identity at that age.
Yeah.
And then your sense of identity is often mirrored by the people you hang around with and the influences that you have in your life. Because you don't really know where you are, what direction to go.
Even just catch on to the fact that there's a lot of young people in Ireland, you'll notice, have almost an American accent. Do you notice this?
Mm.
There's this funny twang from, I suppose, what they watch online. And then it also...
Which, as I said, is the influence of another environment that they live in. Some of these...
Well, they basically do live in, from streaming and playing games online and all that sort of stuff. And I learned something pretty interesting lately where somebody was talking about that, an awful lot of, there's a very high percentage of children nowadays that are on some form of spectrum. And that kind of lack of groundedness because of that is what is influencing them to be part of the, mystical creature society, and that's sad.
Lack of grounding from a strong foundation of family.
Yeah, and maybe from not proper psychological development, we'll say, or maybe just
assertiveness from the father.
Yeah,
for one.
Yeah.
Is that how you would see your role as a father?
Oh, I think very much so. Yeah. I don't think that. Look, again, I don't have children. I'm watching children all around me.
Yeah, but you're. I mean, it's
I
on the agenda at some time. Yeah. So I'm sure something you think about a lot.
But I don't think any parent who goes with the hard parenting route should ever be worried about that. I think the one who's not hard parenting is the one who has something to worry about. I don't think. Look, if you think you're very strict on your kids, or you think you're being very strict on your kids, you don't feel guilty compared to the opposite outcome. Yeah.
But then isn't it maybe one extreme to another instead of finding a middle ground in terms of
there's a middle ground.
What is strictness?
What is strictness? Yeah, but there's, I think, young men, young boys, they need an iron fist. I don't mean that from a physical sense of beating them. I don't mean that. I mean give them clear sense of purpose, clear sense of wrong or right.
Yeah. Accountability.
Yeah. Don't tiptoe around them saying, if the missus says, oh, it's okay if he goes to play with them lads. No, it's not. He's not going there. It's very okay to say no. I think that's a word that's massively missing in society. Yeah.
For a lot of fathers, they fear as though they're going to be disliked by their children.
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? You're not there to be their
Your
friend.
daddy is not there to be liked. My dad there to me. He never cared if I liked him or not.
Yeah.
It's his thing. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm your father. There's a big difference.
Yeah. I've had to repeat that a few times.
Yeah. You've Mason, and there's days where you're gonna have to be you need to bloody listen to me, lad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's one good example there where he's been doing karate since the age of 5, and
class.
Last year, was he 7 or 8 last year, when he was saying, I don't want to go to karate anymore. And I said, okay, you're not going to karate? Tell me something else you're going to do instead. So until you find something that's going to replace the karate, you're going to karate.
Yeah.
So you've the choice of either boxing, kickboxing, Thai boxing, jiu-jitsu,
that's
whatever
really
else.
Funny that you say that.
It's okay. If you're stopping that, then you're starting that. Yeah. And until you find it, then, but he's still going to karate. So he never quit. So the reason for that being is that if I just give in to him, then he becomes a victim in life.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
things get difficult. Poor me. Yeah. I can't do this. It's too difficult. It's like no. So oftentimes you've got to take that short-term hit or the short-term sacrifice of possibly your kid pushing back at you or getting angry or agitated to realize the bigger picture of that and see that this is actually creating the trajectory for his life.
Yeah,
accountability, responsibility, hardships, and leaning into it instead of running away.
It's interesting you say that, because I would have always had that mindset that, if I had children, whether boys or girls, I would think that whatever about school, to be honest, I don't care how you do in school, go, get the most of what you can out of it. You'll find your path in life outside of that as to what your interest is, reality, right? But outside of school, I think the kids should be involved in, we'll call it maybe one ball sport. Whether that's hurling, rugby, football, whatever you like.
Team sport?
Yeah.
Collaborating with others.
And one self-defense type fighting sport. And then the third one would be a social sport. Well, it's even not a sport. Whether that's drama school, whether that's scouts, something that helps you improve your teamwork and skills.
Yeah.
People say you learn team building skills playing as part of a team. You don't really. Because you're not interacting in that sense. You're not really problem solving. You're like, here, Johnny, pass me the ball.
Yeah, I get
That's really all it is.
Yeah.
So something
until you're maybe further down the line, you're talking strategy and tactics. But not at that age.
But even still, like I think the likes of if it was drama class or scouting or something else that's very much more interactive based, problem solving based is good. But definitely on
there's a greater sense of accountability there.
But definitely the having to do some type of fighting type sport is very important. I think for girls and boys, and I think make them do it till they're 16 at least.
Ariana,
and just be regimental. You're going.
Whether
that is karate, which we'll say is, you know, on the lesser side of physical, compared to like, you know, say jiu-jitsu boxing or jiu-jitsu. But even jiu-jitsu, like, again, you're not getting severe blows to the head, like compared to like I done a bit of boxing and stuff, and you know, it's a different realm. Whereas like I think the best middle ground is probably kickboxing, and I didn't even get to do it, but I know a lot of lads who did.
Yeah, that was my thing.
And it's great conditioning for the body. You're still getting a clatter.
Sport.
Yeah.
There's
look at the likes of Sambo. Did you ever watch the Sambo? Like that's crazy. Like,
one thing about getting punched in the head, but getting kicked in the head is a different feeling.
Yeah,
you know?
it is. So. No, it's probably I probably could have went further in life if it wasn't for all the sports injuries and head bangs. You know,
served in one way and didn't serve another way. It all happened for a reason.
But no, I really admire that. You just say to Mason, that's it. You're doing it, or you're doing some other form of it.
Yeah.
So
and then even as I said, like the falling down part or getting punched or kicked, it's my response is usually, well, hey, geez, you're tough. Yeah, you're not made of glass, you see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just get on with it, you know. And
but it's a great sense of accountability as well, because it's funny, I was only talking this with Stephen Kelly on his podcast, and it's like men have a different discussion when talking or having a disagreement when you and me are both very conscious of what it feels like to get a box in the jaw.
Yeah.
That's what keeps the conversation calm.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You and me, if we had a serious disagreement here now, it's in both our interests to keep it contained and try and talk it out.
Yeah.
Whereas you will notice when you talk with the likes of people who are more liberal, they have a tendency to have a rant at you, to have a tantrum, but it's a lack of respect towards you first off.
Yeah.
That they don't want to keep this conversation civilized. But their idea of it being uncivilized is just a screaming match.
Yeah.
They're not aware of the next step.
Yeah.
They don't think the next step is possible.
They haven't experienced the physical aspect of it. They haven't been punched in the jaw.
That's,
Yeah.
And you'd know that from the time of working on the doors. That if you have a guy who gets quite irate at a door, you know it's time to take it. You say, buddy, step back.
Yeah.
Sorry, lad, I don't want trouble. The next thing your hands are up here and you're ready. You're acting in a passive way.
Yeah. But the
minute he takes that step forward.
Yeah.
And this thing of letting, somebody else hit you first, that doesn't work. The first shot wins 9 times out of 10. But they're not aware of that, so therefore they don't have that respect.
Of course.
When trying to deal with someone. So and I said it on Stephen's one, that's what I love about sitting with good men, not nice men. That you can sit with people who are really fully aware of themselves, aware of the situation, aware of where the situation can lead if we don't meet.
Yeah, in the middle,
Yeah.
And at the same time, they're not running away from the conflict either, because they're okay with conflict because they've been in conflict and they've come through the side of it. And it's like, so what? This is like being in the ring and punching the head of each other.
Yeah.
That's okay,
But it's the ability to be comfortable with having a disagreement.
Yeah. But it's respect. Like respect is the key, isn't it?
Yeah. I love being able to sit down and have a very good opposing conversation with someone where nobody's shouting.
Exactly.
It's a tennis match, like.
But that's what's lacking in the world and in Ireland today,
like.
isn't it? It's not. That's my opinion, and that's not going to change. You have your opinion. You're not going to change, obviously. So fuck off. And there's a separation instead of no. Let's talk it out.
Yeah.
I mean,
how many people have you sat down with that just get up and walk away, and slam a door?
Yeah.
And it's going to cause trouble saying it, but it's mostly women who do that. But then there's a lot of men out there who can't deal with it if they have problems with their partner.
Yeah.
They find that very difficult because, as I said, men won't get up in somebody's face and start screaming and shouting because we know what the next step of that is. And I think there's an unfortunate reality there that is very dangerous territory to talk about. When you hear that, how will I say it? It's even dangerous for me to talk about that. If a couple have a disagreement, you could have a partner who's very, fiery.
Yeah.
And it could be a very passionate disagreement. Like, it could be a serious problem that you're having, and they could come and get up in your face and scream and shout, right? Not every man has the resolve to back off, sit down.
To control his emotions.
Yes, to talk low, to talk slow. Because when they're up in that, they get, the anxiety gets raised, everything, gets heightened. Fear. And they can't find what the answer is the other person is looking for. And they can't process what's happening because it's so agitated, the situation. And then I think that's where then you have those horrible events where a man lashes out.
Well, it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah. And I don't justify that at all. I want anyone listen to this, I don't justify that at all. But I think there is very much a lack of awareness from a woman's perspective as to that's not how to communicate.
To the man?
Yeah. And
that she actually needs to back off, or she needs to
well, like if he's backed off and she's advancing.
Okay, yeah.
And I think where we've seen that raise its ugly head was with that court case between where the army fella had hit that Natasha O'Brien girl. Was it Natasha O'Brien? I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I'm not sure if I have that name correct now, but that particular situation where somebody advanced in an aggressive manner, and not realizing that not every man has the self-control to go, look, just leave me be, kind of thing. Or, and it's not that kind of self-accountability that, like, things can happen. You don't step within somebody's range like that, particularly if they're intoxicated and things like that. 9 out of 10 guys would just walk away and go, look, we'll talk about this later, or, But I think there's a lot to be thought about with that.
But at the same time,
and I think that's why couples now find it very hard to have an argument, because, as I said, it comes back to two men know that, look, we have to keep this civil because we want to keep it civil because we know the next step.
But at the same time, the man has to take 100% responsibility for his own actions.
Oh yeah, no, like if he does something like that, like, your buddy, you can't do that. Like I remember my dad, my sister, and we would have been bickering, and he's like, we were very young now, but he said, don't be standing over her like that. Sit down. Talk low, talk slow. He was like...
Talk low, talk slow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's his thing. Sit down, talk low, talk slow.
To you or to both of you?
Well, more so to me.
Yeah, so
he said, I remember him saying that to me one day. I think it was my sister or maybe one of my cousins. We'd had some bicker match over something silly. And he's like, when you're talking to... or when you're having a disagreement with a woman, he said, sit down, talk low, talk slow.
Smart man, your dad.
He was, yeah, because he said you don't realize how intimidating you look there.
So he's able to see that from an outside perspective.
Yeah.
And then
it was interesting.
This is the bigger picture of him seeing you down the line in your own relationship.
Yeah.
He was actually teaching and training you to deal with a woman who's emotionally heightened.
Yeah. He was like, that wasn't like you and the lads on the pitch, like, because it's different. Like, if you're on a pitch and, you have a fight over whatever's going on, you start running. So the first thing two lads do is put their heads right to forehead. And
well, could be one of the first things, yeah.
unless
a fist meets you first.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, I think that's something that a lot of people could incorporate into that. Like, you have to have a rule between yourself and your other half or your friends or whoever, that if we have a problem, let's sit down.
Yeah.
Talk or go for a walk. Like,
I'd often have that conversation with men, because this is as you mentioned, a massive struggle for men to actually communicate with their woman and to meet her where she's at.
And it's getting too heightened. Like, that's what I suppose I kind of went around a little bit the wrong way there, but I think you were getting what I was getting at. Like,
but do you feel as well that the woman is actually trying to help the man rise up so he can step in as a protector for her when she's in this completely vulnerable state? Because she is very vulnerable whenever she's so expressive in her anger, and that usually comes from a place of fear.
Oh, it does, yeah.
So you see, can you protect me?
You see a lot of the psychologist type people, or I don't know what the correct term is, they say, that women subconsciously will test you. Pearson actually talked about it, that when you're dating a woman, she will try and rise you to see your level of aggressiveness.
Yeah.
To then understand how will you react if a child pushes you a little bit too far.
She's nearly testing you in the relationship to see how you be outside the relationship.
Yeah, and apparently it's a subconscious primal thing to do. As I say, you know, if a woman stops fighting with you, she doesn't care about you anymore. That is, you know, I remember seeing somebody say that one day, but it is often true. Like if you do something, you know, whether you didn't pick something off the floor and they don't say anything, it's kind of like,
she's actually trying to help you become better.
Yeah, but if she's not bothered anymore, then you probably should be bothered by that.
Yeah, she's tapped out.
Yeah,
she's given up.
Yeah. Excuse me, but but it's very interesting about that thing when some of them guys are talking about that, how it's their preparation of when they become a mother. That are they with somebody that has the right level of aggression to defend them, but also enough consciousness to only use it when necessary. You know,
even for the woman herself.
Yeah, for her as well.
The children to decide. I mean,
but like I'm sure, like, you know, anyone who has kids, like I'm sure it's like you'll have two goals going, don't do that, and then it's a roaring match after that, and go, I told you, get off the table, or get off, stop doing that, this, that, and the other.
2 or 3 warnings, and then okay. Big thanks to Earthkind, our new sponsor of the Modern Warrior podcast. They have some incredible products like the tallow and honey balm, which is great for skin hydration and repair. And then they've got the wild yam balm, which helps to relax the body and calm the mind. I've been using both of these products. The wild yam balm has certainly been helping with my sleep, and the tallow and honey balm has certainly helped with my skin. So go check them out. Click the link below and grab yourself a couple of these. It's like establish a softer boundary first through voice or through assertiveness, and then there's a stronger boundary. And usually the stronger boundary is maybe taking something that I would practice with the kids sometimes is, you know, even if, because the kids are very expressive, right, in my house, and they can basically speak their mind, but sometimes, you know, things get taken out of hand and they get into an argument, or there's a few fucks thrown around, or there's name calling. I said, look, name calling, not accepted in this house. Warning number 1. Hear it again, there's going to be consequences. And I understand that. But at the same time, it you know, the line is usually crossed somewhere down the line. And like for Mason, for example, I take him into consideration here. So he'll call his sister something. And I said, buddy, I warned you. Now there's a consequence. The consequence is this is being taken away for a week, or you can't do that for a week, or whatever it might be. No TV for a week or something. And I said, this is not a punishment. This is showing you that your actions and your words have consequences.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
He goes, oh, this is a punishment. It's okay if that's where you're at right now.
It's a dictatorship.
Yeah. I'm fucking going to war here. So
it's only going to get worse, Gavin. A few more years to
go.
I'm
moving out. Yeah. 8 years old. I'm moving out. But again, that's going back to what I mentioned earlier. It's like that's short, because it's not easy for me to put that in place either. But I know I'm doing the right thing. You know, instead of doing the easy thing, which is give them what they want, do the fucking right thing.
Do you suffer with guilt with situations like that?
I would have in the past, but not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. You're just like, this is good for you.
Yeah,
whether you like it or not.
The guilt thing is quite interesting, actually, because I became a father quite young at 26, and I try to be the perfect dad. Which
funny how we call that young now to be a father when it's not.
Yeah,
it's old.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
But it's funny,
I was young in the sense of my maturity level, maybe, you know, and I
yeah.
hadn't done any work on myself at that point, based on what I've done in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
But so I tried to be the perfect dad to her at the time, and you know, down the line now I can look back and I was realizing that I was setting an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah,
she needs, and they need to see me messing up and fucking up sometimes and making mistakes, but then it's about how I respond to that.
Yeah.
So Mason comes along, you know, later on down the line, and then there was one episode there where I got angry with him. Just had one of those moments, you know.
Yeah. Enough's enough.
I'd rearranged his bedroom and I set things up for him, and then he came in and he started kicking my fuss because his bed was in the wrong direction, and I'm going, hey man, fucking hell, like thanks would be nice.
Yeah.
And so I got angry, not vocally, but just he could sense my energy was rising, and then he got upset and he's sitting downstairs, and I said, great, to myself, great, brilliant opportunity. He's witnessed you making a mistake. He's witnessed that you are a human. And now he's going to experience how you respond after you make a mistake, or you said the wrong thing, or you reacted instead of being a bit more responsive and a bit more considerable in that situation. So went down to him and said, "Hey, buddy, that wasn't your fault, okay? That's my anger, not yours. And I'm sorry for reacting in that way." That's it. End of story. Yeah. No guilt, nothing else after that. It's done. Now, in the past, that would have probably eaten me up a lot more. I didn't have the awareness around it because I tried to be perfect. So that's also something that I see for a lot of men that I work with, because they've gone through maybe a childhood where their father was absent, or they didn't get what they wanted from the father. They sort of take everything they didn't get and they sort of amplify it in their own parenting, and they go too far to that extreme of trying to be everything their father wasn't. It's like, no, your father actually demonstrated some incredible qualities too that felt quite painful at the time, but you needed that pain. Maybe it wasn't communicated in the way that you fully understood, but just think about it. Like he demonstrated assertiveness, he demonstrated hardships, he pushed you to take risks, he was there to give you a kick in the ass whenever you felt like quitting or giving in. And all these were painful experiences, but they're also incredible qualities that you can bring to your kids now as well. So there's too many people caught up in the trauma or the pain of the past, or the parents they had in the past, and they're forgetting about the blessings.
Well, of course, like they don't see the blessing in the bad, like or the bad moments, like, or what you perceive as a bad moment. I think
perceive as a bad moment, exactly. Your interpretation of it.
It's your interpretation.
It didn't feel nice.
And then as well, like, I think from when you're talking to a lot of people, and you can kind of see that, like, they suffer with the fact that their parents didn't acknowledge when something bad happened. By what that I mean is, like, you done something wrong as a child, they at the head of you, then you just don't talk for 12 hours, and like the next thing you say is pass the salt the next day at dinner, and you just go on for there and yes, it didn't happen, and move forward, rather than, I think what's hopefully happening now is people are getting more conscious and dissecting what happened. And I suppose there's more of a belief and an understanding and a value put on explaining how to process a situation.
Discussing it.
Yeah. And I think you see that then in friendships as you get older, or in relationships, you see how people deal with conflict. There are those who wish to resolve and those who wish to just pretend like it didn't happen. And the ones who pretend like it didn't happen, they're a problem.
They're the dangerous ones.
They are the dangerous ones because I suppose they're having the self-acknowledgement of when they're wrong, but then they have a firm belief of like, let's just move on and say nothing. And it's just a building,
building of tension and
building of tension and resentment and things like that. Like, and you know,
I've walked that path. I've had to walk that path to realize that that's not the path. That's the easy path, but not the right path.
And when you get into that habit, I think particularly in relationships of where you're just avoiding conflict, that you're tiptoeing your day, like, I'm not going to say anything about that because it's just easier. I'm not going to say anything about it. The next thing you're saying nothing about nothing. And like, that's eating you up internally. Yeah. The problems are not getting resolved. And sure, eventually one day, one of you's going to have a massive bust up.
Yeah.
Rather than have all the fights you possibly can as quick as you possibly can with someone, and you'll know where you stand with them.
Yeah.
And if you can find resolve over each of those things, you might have to have a particular fight. I kind of found with people that you might have to have a particular fight 3 times. But if you can resolve it on the 3rd time it happens, because it kind of takes you 3 times to fully take in what is this revolving occurrence that is causing this issue. And if they're of the similar mindset that they can too see what's going on, we can both sit there and go, look, that's our problem. It's not so much us. We both perceive this particular issue in different ways. Now, here's my part on it. There's your part on it. It's because of how I dealt with this particular thing when I was younger. That's because of what happened to you when you were a little bit older. That's how your parents dealt with it. This is how my parents dealt with it. And this is how we are going to deal with it. And it's ending today.
That's good, man.
And if people are really, really like, sometimes if you have, we'll call a shouting match or a roaring match with somebody, or somebody's really visibly emotional and upset over something that's quite minor, you say, who are you angry with right now? Because it's not me. Something else tipped you off today. Something else. Talk came back from years ago about something else. This is a similar situation to something else. Who are you angry with right now that you didn't resolve it, that I'm paying the brunt of? Think about it.
That's a good question.
Who are you angry with? Because it's not fucking me. It could be me.
Yeah,
I could have drove the living.
Well, you're more of a reflection of something in the past.
You are the ignition source to the catalyst that has been built.
Yeah.
You know,
it's never about what it's about, is it?
No, it's not. And we're like, I'm fully 100% guilty of that. I could have a really bad day, and one person could just, I'd be like, you're getting everything else that somebody else should have got. You know.
Yeah.
You have to have an acknowledgement. At least if you said after that, sorry, I was actually pissed off at 10 other people, not you.
Yeah, but that's the brilliant thing about relationships, isn't it? Because you're carving each other out.
Yeah. But if you're willing to do it.
Yeah.
But again, it comes back to, it's a tennis match. If the other person isn't willing to hit the ball back, you're at nothing. So you both have to be, I'm going to say, you both have to be brave enough to want to face some of that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
It's not simple.
Yeah. And even just approach it as a game, you know?
Yeah. But then again, over really serious things, don't do it over the phone. It's the most dangerous way to talk to someone ever, over the phone. And I don't think you should do it like this. I think just don't look at each other and walk.
All right. So it's not even eye contact. Yeah.
I think you'll actually enrage somebody looking at them, because how we perceive somebody's facial expressions tends to aggravate us more. Whether it's the blank stare, whether you could have a slight grin, whatever, that'll just go, are you mocking what I'm saying?
The most subtle of expression.
Yeah, because we read so much through our eyes, through our face.
Yeah.
And as well as that, there is an element of energy between us, because we are vibrational creatures. We can feel, we can sense when somebody is tense. We can sense when somebody is sad. I can anyway. Most people can. If you're in tune that way.
Yeah.
And particularly when you look at somebody in the eyes, it's the same as dogs. You plug into someone. A lot of people aren't consciously aware of that. And when you get the realization of all that you say, we're going for a walk. And we're going to talk about this. And you'll find it's very easy to converse that way. You know, and there's something very soothing about that as well.
Yeah.
It's the walking and the talking.
Of course,
and there's things going on. Whereas if you're stagnant,
yeah,
your body isn't even thinking about it. It doesn't have to think to walk. You're just sitting there. Whereas, you know, there's just more of
you're moving as well, so you're moving the energy through your body.
Yeah, and you're getting lots of fresh air and the whole lot.
Because sometimes if you're just standing there, the energy gets stuck in your body,
it does,
and then it rises more, maybe more. It's more volatile, or it's more explosive if you're just standing in one place. Whereas if you're moving, it's actually it's moving through your body as well. I think
another good thing for people as well is, like, if they are having conflict, and it is like a, you know, relationship type conflict, is to not go away from each other, like, in the moment. It's nearly like that thing of go like the two guys on the football pitch. It's very hard to be cross with someone when they're this close to you. Sometimes it can be easier. Like, if you and me went like that over an issue, it'd be easier to get angrier.
Yeah.
But with your partner, it's funny how it subdues or soothes the thing.
Yeah.
Because you're having to calm down now.
Yeah. Well, you have to be regulated and calm.
Oh, you do,
yeah. It's not coming in with aggro or aggression or
and sometimes to say to somebody, you know, that you've acknowledged or you've copped onto the fact that they are angry over something, you know, really it's not because you didn't put away the dishes, or it's not because you've done something like that. It's something else has agitated this, and to be able to look at them and say, look, it wasn't your fault. That situation 20 years ago. And that can cut very deep for people though as well. So you have to be careful when you say things like that to someone. But that's what a lot of people just need, is to be told that, you know, that wasn't your fault. Like, you didn't know any better.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just a kid. You're just a teenager. And when you connect in with someone on that level, like, and I've done that to even male friends of mine, you know, some lads just need a hug and be told, look, lad, you've done your best. You're doing your best.
Yeah.
And it's that bit of empathy and that bit of understanding
that they never received at the time.
They never received, and that kind of self-guilt.
Yeah.
You know, and even if they did do something very wrong, like, they're still carrying that. Like, they need to, you know, none of us, we're not given a booklet on how to live. You have to have a bit of acknowledgement for yourself that way, a bit of forgiveness. You know, there's a lot of people walking around with some very heavy stuff on their shoulders that's,
not theirs to carry.
It's not theirs to carry. Like, and I come back to even if they did do, maybe for a man, maybe it's a fight you got into, maybe you hurt someone, maybe you broke something, whatever the case may be, and you're still thinking about 10, 20 years later and carrying that constant thing, and you'd know all about that, and you're dealing with that, and you're dealing with it in a public sphere as well, which is twice as difficult. But to have the kind of self-acknowledgement that, like, look, I didn't know any better, or I did, and I still chose poor decisions.
Response, yeah. But you choose the response that you know.
Yeah. And like,
as you said, you didn't know any better.
Yeah, men are very good at kind of blanking and doing stupid things.
Yeah. We are stupid on the surface, but there's always something deeper as you're sort of tapping into,
Yeah. But like, and then, we use vices like alcohol and drugs and things like that just really, they are the key factors to make the perfect bad mistake. That's what I call it. I know it's like, I have drank very little in the last 7 years. I haven't drank now in 2 years. I don't say I don't drink, but I just don't drink.
Yeah, I hear you. I know what you mean.
Like, I went to a wedding lately. It doesn't faze me at all not to drink. My life's a lot better because I never made any good decisions on drink. I'm not saying I made bad ones.
Yeah.
But I never made any good ones.
But you still make a decent decision with 1 or 2 pints, wouldn't you?
I mean, would, yeah.
It's when you get to 6, 7, 10, 12, it's when the trouble arises. Yeah.
And then as well, it's your personality and your consciousness that comes out that you haven't got control on with the alcohol.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I never had a problem with drugs. I never done any drugs, but like, I know that from lads around me, like, they're just, God loved them in some ways, like, but they just haven't a hold of that demon, like.
Yeah, cocaine usage is
it's rampant in Ireland, like. I don't know where that's going to end up, like.
Yeah, it's so accessible at the moment.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, yeah. And it's the norm. Yeah.
But it also just demonstrates the level of pain that men are carrying, that they have to go down that route as well.
Yeah. But
as you mentioned, the burden and the lack of healthy reflection in their life for someone like yourself to step in and say, hey man, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Yeah, and I think it's the numbness of everyday life as well. There's an awful lot, I think there's an awful lot of men out there that don't get fulfillment from their everyday life, from their job.
What are they lacking?
Purpose.
True
purpose.
How do you find it?
I think true purpose is found through relationships and family and responsibilities.
What's your purpose? Has that been redefined in recent times?
I've a girlfriend there, and that, I suppose, that gives me an element of purpose. I suppose I've always had purpose because I've had dependence. Now, when I say dependence, my dependents have 4 legs, not 2 legs.
Yeah.
But having a pet, again, gives you an element of purpose. Like, you have to have a structure to your day. That animal needs to be fed, watered, and walked.
You're responsible for it, yeah.
You are responsible for it. Unfortunately, some people don't take that responsibility very seriously. That's why we have so much animal abuse cases in Ireland. But the farm gives me a great sense of purpose. There are things that have to be done. End of story. I'm responsible for their lives. I suppose even my job, as I suppose in one way, as insignificant as my work is, it's very significant because the whole world revolves on a tire. Doesn't mean that the company can't run without me or other lads working for it, but still needs a certain amount of lads running it, because that's how everything gets to the grocery shops. That's how everyone gets to work. That's how the ambulance gets to a call. That's how the guards get to a call, and so on and so forth. So I know, in the greater sense of life, I have a purpose. I am serving a purpose in a way.
Good.
So if you can look into your line of work that way, whether you're building houses or whether you're sweeping the street, you serve a purpose in society.
It's sort of just take yourself out of the equation here. You're actually serving a greater purpose here that you're not seeing. Yeah.
So have a bit of acknowledgement for the fact that you have a purpose in life, whether no matter the general person's sense of view of how important you may be, because we're great in this modern age of,
I'm better than you.
I'm better than you because of my education.
Or job.
Yeah, office jobs don't make the world go round. That's the simple fact.
Well, depending.
Well,
what you do in the office.
Unfortunately, office jobs control the world, but they do not make it work.
I hear you.
Lads in work boots always matter more than men in suits, you know. That's who runs the countries. It's guys in high vis and work boots, not guys in suits.
And the ones in the high vis and the work boots are probably the ones that are struggling to find a purpose all the more.
They are struggling the most.
But they're not seeing that, hey, that roof you put on a house there,
somebody's
going to live there.
Yeah,
you're gonna. This is a shelter for a home of a family someday.
Yeah,
fair folks.
And yeah, I think maybe you see that with the men's groups. Like you'd have a lot of what I suppose are blue collar type lads.
There's a mix.
There's a mix. There's a mix.
Yeah. There's a mix.
Interestingly, do you think that there's more men in sedentary style jobs suffer with their mental health than blue collar type jobs?
It's a good question.
I would be of the opinion that the sedentary types suffer more with the head.
I would probably agree with you there. Yeah.
Lack of moving.
Yeah.
Lack of physicality.
Yeah.
Lower testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
Better, a more toxic work culture from
an environment too.
Yeah.
Fluorescent lighting and all that.
Fluorescent light and all them things.
Mm.
Whereas the active physical man, now look, they can talk about substituting that with the gym, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the guy who goes to the gym for an hour does not equate to the amount of work I do in a day. And you see the work I do, like it's literally CrossFit.
I get a glimpse of it. Yeah.
It's a CrossFit session back to back all day. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then if I go out hunting at night, again, I'm getting more primal. My body is in tune with being active, being coordinated, being in tune with the world around me when I'm out shooting and all that sort of thing, whether you're hunting foxes or whatever your particular prey is. When you get that surge of cortisol and stuff from getting to that moment where you're sighting something up, your heart rate, trying to control your heart rate, which is like the cold plunging, because you're learning how to control your anxiety.
Yeah.
So you have that ability to bring your heart rate down because you need to steady your shot, particularly with a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And then that surge of, again, the cortisol, the testosterone boost for the hours after is all adding to you having better endorphins throughout your body. Like there's a lot to be said for it compared to the guy who gets up in the morning, has a coffee, boosting his system before he's even had a chance to come aware of what's going on in the world, getting in a car, getting out of the car, getting into an office seat, staying there till 11 o'clock, having an 11 o'clock tea, staying there for a few more hours, drive home, sit on the couch. Maybe some of them go to the gym. Okay, that slightly helps. They're not getting the same benefit that I get every day. Now, I do be wrecked. Okay. You know, I suffer with aches and pains that men in their 30s just shouldn't. But
brings us a level of satisfaction.
It does, yeah.
That you won't find in an office job. Yeah.
And then take in for the fact that, like, no alcohol. I eat reasonably well. Otherwise, I live reasonably well. I actually always have very good energy. You know, I don't actually need that much sleep. This whole 8 hours thing, I'm sure a lot of people need it. I kind of operate off about 5 hours a night.
Okay.
That'd be my average. Maybe Saturday night I get a little bit longer because I lie in. But definitely food and movement.
Yeah.
But proper movement, like physicality, like they even, you know, you see them on about, you know, the chopping wood kind of phenomenon that if you chop wood, it boosts your testosterone.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, but it's not even just the fact of the activity of chopping the wood. It's, you know, you're chopping it to heat the house. So again, you're providing
purpose.
I shot 2 crows this morning. I was telling you that with the shotgun, right? One of them now was a very long shot, so I've satisfaction. Like, that was a good shot. Like, you know, I was impressed with myself. But the other side is, if I really needed to eat, I could have provided today. Wouldn't be that gone on crow pie, but better than no pie, right? So again, you have that sense of purpose.
Yeah. To know that you can.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have to do, but just to know you can.
Just to know you can.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, the pleasure is like fishing or hunting. I've always been active all my life. I've been involved in hunting and fishing and outdoor pursuits, dogs, whatever the case may be, the farming. You know, the thrill is in the hunt, not in the kill. And it is like the thrill of having to chase something, you know, figure out what kind of lure to use fishing.
Yeah.
You're watching the float and you could be there for 20 minutes watching it pop, 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 and then bang, and to have the activity to hook it and get it in. And then if it's something that's the right size, that you kill it and bring it home and you eat it and you go, you know what? I got this for me. I ate this for me. I cooked it myself.
Yeah.
It's self-sufficient. And that's a very good boost for your morale.
Yeah, your confidence.
For your confidence. A lot of people don't get that boost on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And, you know, they just go, I go to work, I get my wage, I pay the bills. And then, like, what's my bit of happiness? Unfortunately, for a lot of incel type communities in the world, they feel justified that, or they feel the satisfaction from being able to pay for the alcohol at the weekend, pay for the OnlyFans subscription, the cocaine, all those vices that are not serving them.
So they're finding what you find in nature in a different way.
So they're finding there's a word for that, Kevin, that's like
dopamine, or
the dopamine hit, false dopamine hit. And unfortunately, then I think that dopamine hit wears off for them.
Oh, very quickly, yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And, you know, particularly you hear people with drugs and alcohol, like the amount you have to consume to get that euphoric first time feeling gets higher and higher.
Yeah. Your tolerance levels rise.
Yeah. Whereas, I don't know, in my sense of things, like I get a dopamine hit whether I'm chasing a trout in the river, a crow in a tree. Okay, yeah, if you were chasing a deer, it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more excitement or something like that, or a fox or whatever. But it's reoccurring.
Yeah.
It doesn't get old.
And it's the hardships of that too.
Yeah, it's the hardships and the weather and, you know.
There's no hardships. Well, there's a different type of hardship that comes from an OnlyFans subscription.
Oh, God.
So.
And that's that whole demographic of the community of men and women. There's a lot of women are addicted to this lifestyle in a different sense.
Well, the men are feeding the system.
Yeah, but they're majority. But I mean, there's a growing population of women now who are excessively using cocaine,
the cocaine piece, yeah.
Activate or a success, you know, what the hell was I going to say there? That are, you know, engaging in pornography, alcohol,
which the men
promiscuous activities.
But the men are checking out. So the men aren't showing up. Yeah. So where's the women going to go?
James Conway said a great thing in a podcast lately. Women went from hard to get to, what was it? They went from hard to get to nobody wants them. Something along the lines of that. And what he meant by that was men don't want the modern woman because of their behaviours. Now, I haven't requoted that great, but what he meant by that was I don't think a lot of men want the hassle of a relationship nowadays. They don't feel that they're getting a lot out of it.
They don't feel that they're capable of a relationship even. They don't and the hardships and difficulties of it.
And I think the women are suffering with a similar thing. They don't believe that there's men in their vicinity that they'd want to settle down with and have babies. And it's sad on both counts because they were both fed the same lie that, you know, go off, live your best life till you're 35. And then you realise the best part of your life is actually building something that's meaningful.
Yeah, together.
Of purpose.
Yeah. And you're not going to procreate on OnlyFans or porn.
No.
Which again brings a whole other purpose into your life when you become a father or a mother. Yeah.
We're a massive selfish society.
Well, that's one thing I actually sat with there quite recently. I was looking at the word mental health, and I looked at the word, and the first two letters are M-E, me. Like you're suffering with your mental health because you're making it all about me. Me. Doing what feels good to me. Looking after me. Fuck everyone else. It's like, hey, take me out of the fucking equation and just realize the greater purposes that you need to establish in your life.
Live to serve.
Live to serve, yeah.
But it's
selfish servant, as I would call it,
But it's
give to you so you can give back, not give to you so you can feel good. Give to you so you can give to
all the excuses in today's world, like, oh, this happened to me, that happened to me. This is why I am this way. This is why I can't do that.
Sympathy seeking,
And self-diagnosing. That's an all-time rampant problem nowadays.
As in calling themselves
whether
anxious
it's dyslexic,
or depressed, or
whether it's neurodivergent, I think was the 2025 buzzword of the year.
Okay, yeah,
an excuse.
Mm.
Stop using titles and buzzwords to excuse shitty behaviour. Bottom line of it.
Although there is a real thing, though. Yeah,
is it?
Is it?
Is it? That's a question for you. We know autism is a real thing. Is neurodivergent?
You're talking more about neurodivergency would be...
You and me would fall under the category.
ADHD?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say something now, and I don't mean anything personal about it, but you and me potentially would probably fall in under the category of neurodivergent.
Okay.
By our behaviours, our mannerisms, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't use that as an excuse as to why I was a dickhead to someone.
Mm-hmm.
I go, or why I can't work, or why I can't do certain things, or why I can't whatever. Instead of embracing, look, I'm a little bit different. I have to acknowledge at times, maybe there's a bit of a void that I don't fully understand the social situation. Maybe I'm a bit blunt. I don't need a title to use an excuse. And we spoke that the last time I was on with you.
Yeah.
That stop putting kids in boxes and saying all the reasons why they can't succeed in life. But the people who were given those excuses, or I think in some cases they were never given an excuse, are now seeking that in their mid-20s, 30s and 40s. And be like, this is why I'm single and no kids at 37. I'm neurodivergent. Nobody can understand me. Is that the reason? It's not just because you're a bit of a bitch. Or in a man's case, it's not just because you're a bit of a pig-headed dickhead.
Yeah, you're playing the victim again. Yeah.
Victim.
Giving your power away to the label.
Whereas I would say people like myself, I have a hard out story. I have plenty of excuses why I could have wound up in a whiskey bottle. Or hard on drugs or something like that. I have any excuse in the world. I won't sour my lips talking about those particular things that happened to me throughout my childhood, but I don't use them as an excuse. I will explain my behaviour to help you understand me, but I won't excuse my behaviour.
Mm-hmm.
I don't excuse any of my behaviour, the good, the bad, or the ugly of it. But I feel a sense that when I do these podcasts, or when I talk online, or when I do whatever, my behaviour could help somebody else. And I see that's very prevalent, that whether I talk about being adopted, whether I talk about having a hard time in school, and I'm sure if I spoke about some of my other experiences in life, it would greatly help people. But it's parents that reach out to me and go, I want to show this little segment of that podcast you've done to my son. My son's adopted. My daughter's adopted. They're really struggling with this.
Sense of belonging.
Sense of belonging. Why me? My son
feeling rejected, even that.
Yeah, like my son had a false allegation made against him. He's on suicide watch at the minute. I believe that my son didn't do this. What can I say to him that helps him understand that I'm here for him? I'm going to show him this little segment of this podcast. And that's when I go to myself, it doesn't matter what people fucking think about me. There's a few people out there that are benefiting from this.
Mm-hmm. Could be saving a life.
You could be saving a life. And I actually have no problem. I kind of came to that acknowledgement last year. I know for a fact I've saved more than a few lives since 2018 online. Mm-hmm. And I remember that because the amount of people who sent me messages that whatever little bit of thought you gave them, whatever bit of joy you gave them, laugh.
Just a change of perspective on the situation.
Change of perspective. And the amount of messages I've gotten of literally that you've helped me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's and I'm sure maybe you find this with the lads you're helping, you're seeing that on a daily basis. You are seeing visible proof you are helping people, and more people are coming for help.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sad fact that in this day and age, people need so much help. It's an unfortunate fact.
But it's great that it's there.
It's brilliant that it's there. It's brilliant they're acknowledging that they need it, because there's so many lads that don't.
Of course, that awareness.
I could name 20 names in my head that didn't get that help, that are 6 foot under. And there's more of it, needed. But I think there needs to be more of an approach on a real base level to people, rather than telling them, here's all the solutions. It's like, what is actually your problem? And that's what you're doing. You are delving deep into lads as to, how do you feel when you're on cocaine? Or how do you feel when you're going on Pornhub 5 times a day? And coming away with a sense of guilt then for doing it.
Of course.
And that kind of self-hatred for falling for your lesser self, or whatever the case may be. And
a fragmentation of love.
There's so many conversations there to have with people, and it's like, Yeah, I think it's a really special time we're in for all the benefits of it. But I think equally it's very, very hard time for people. I think we've over-evolved on a conscious level in a way, but not conscious enough.
Yeah, okay. We're sort of still trying to catch up with ourselves.
We're trying to catch up with the technology. We're trying to catch up with the societal
shifts,
changes.
Yeah.
And you know, relationships with people have never been under more pressure because there's just so much outward influence on life.
So many distractions.
So many distractions. So many things to be it cause trauma, cause anger, resentment, upset, all these things that are influencing. And by the time you meet each other in your 30s and you've both lived this life, as good as it might have been or as bad as it might have been, there's so many things you're up against in your internal programming that are working against you being happy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just are not getting the information they need to combat that and combat themselves. I feel really hard. I feel really sorry for people. You know, in that sense, like I think anyone who's going to be around in 20 years in my age group and they're having a successful marriage and they got a couple of kids, I'm gonna be like, you guys will deserve a medal because you're beating all the odds. They really are, like.
Yeah.
They really are going to beat all the odds to do that. But I think that time is coming that is going to be more at the forefront. It's going to be more respected. It's going to be more appreciated. And it's going to be more understood, the value of it soon.
Okay.
That's what I hope for.
You experience that value yourself now, being in a relationship?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Like, look, I'm very lucky. We were friends before that, which is a good help as well, you know.
Of course, you had that solid foundation.
Yeah.
Relationship already.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I'm very lucky for that, and we both make the conscious decision every day that we have problems. We're not the problem.
Very good.
Doesn't mean we haven't had a couple of big fucking matches. We have, but we've both acknowledged that afterwards. This, as what I said earlier, is like, this is my problem. That's your problem. This, you know, there is the bloody problem.
Yeah, in the middle. Yeah.
So we're both on the wavelength that way, that's 99% the battle. And I think great things can come from that then, you know.
Fair play, man.
Yeah.
Great conversation again, Maurice.
Yeah, cheers. No, I liked it. It's gone all kind of roads.
Yeah. We never know where we go in these conversations, but it goes where it needs to go.
Yeah, I think it was very enjoyable, and I'm sure people will be kind of, geez, there was a lot in that.
Time always flies with you, man. It's like over an hour already, so.
It's mad, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you've got the Longacre lifestyle and all that going on still.
Yeah, so hats, t-shirts, hoodies, all that kind of thing.
Deadly.
Got a couple of big things planned for this year. I'll say no more.
Good. Where can they check you out and keep an eye on this?
Yeah, so my main account is Instagram and Facebook, and I'm kind of sporadic in my posting at the moment. I suppose I'm appearing in more podcast type stuff.
Yeah.
Longacre. Going to do a couple of events this year. Going to be in person in different places. And
are you doing a few speaking events?
Yeah. And I suppose the only other thing I can say to people is, you know, live each and every day as though your very existence is an act of rebellion itself.
Repeat that for us.
Live each and every day as though your very existence is an act of rebellion in itself.
Oh, wow. That's the mic drop. Thank you, Maurice.
Thanks very much, Gavin.
Legend.
Sure.
Thank you again for tuning in to this episode. If there has been something that has resonated with you on this conversation, ping me a message over on Instagram at Gavin Meenan and let me know what it was. Chat soon.